Banerjee, Dr. Forbes, distinguished panelists, and this very high-powered audience and delegation from India. We've heard a lot of very detailed statements, and I do notice Mr. Banerjee asked me to say a few words, which is nice. He's too polite to say so, but he wants me to be brief because he wants to leave some time for Q&A. And that's perfectly fine as far as I'm concerned. Minister Johnson, he had to leave, and I did want to say this in his presence, that he said that he probably crammed 100 years of news into 1 week. And I have a feeling that he and one of his previous avatars was a foreign correspondent for the Financial Times in India. And possibly as an old newsman, it must have been a certain sense that, oh, I wish such a thing had happened on my beat as an Indian. I can't say what diplomats feel about these things, but I can tell you that as a part-time fiction writer, I can tell you that I wish I had written this plot. So it's been exciting times. And I think all of you are fully prepared as to which way to go and what to look at and what to study. But I'll just make a couple of broad points. I think it's a very good time to be here. That's the first point. And particularly with such a powerful delegation. And I congratulate CII and CBI for having put this event together. It's a good time to be here, not just because of the June sales. It's a good time to be here because of the uncertainty. And I don't think business and industry shirk away from uncertainty. I've never done business, but I would presume that business actually thrives on uncertainty. I'm sure businessmen must be having an extra surge of adrenaline when they see that, oh, it could go this way or this way, and if we make this decision, then this is the advantage. So I think it's a good time to be here to cut out the confusion. A certain amount of confusion is built into the situation, and I don't think that is going to clarify until it clarifies. And this is a kind of situation where the only way forward is through. You simply have to go through this, and then see where we land. But I think if you are here at this time, and if you are talking with your counterparts, it's a very good time to be explaining things to each other. But because I can tell you, as the High Commissioner here, people are listening. People are listening to what India is saying, what India is thinking, what India would propose. I won't go into specificities, but I think the mode is an open mode, and this is the time to be talking. This is the time to be creating trust. This is the time to be instilling confidence. And I think the presence of such a high-powered delegation here itself is a confidence-building measure. So I'm very glad you're here, and I'm very glad you're going to be having very detailed discussions and panels over the next 48 hours or so, and these will be very, very productive. In contrast to the uncertainties which all of us are aware of, I would just like to point out the certainties. I think we have to underline, and much of this has been done today, we have to underline that the political underpinning of the economic trade investment relationship is very sound. We have the highest level of commitments at the level of the Prime Ministers in the November meeting, at their other meetings that they have had before and since, of a certain political commitment to give this strategic partnership the heft and the dynamism that it deserves. So this is the basic certainty. It is the political commitment, it is a planned roadmap which is already there. Much of it was mentioned by Minister Johnson, particularly in the areas of collaboration of universities and science and technology, which incidentally is one of the fastest growing areas of the bilateral relationship. But there are several other areas. There is the investment area. It's been mentioned we are the third largest investor. We are in fact, there are 800 Indian companies here. There is the largest job provider is an Indian company. So there is a clear roadmap. There is an institutional framework. There are dialogues of various aspects of the relationship, which maybe they don't always make the news, but then this is the routine nuts and bolts of the diplomatic relationship which keeps it secure at a time of uncertainty. So all that is well in place, all that has been honed to a fine working routine by now, and this is something which all of you I think can take for granted and then can build upon. There is a plan. For instance, this is the year of the India-UK Year of Education and Innovation, and there is a technology summit coming up in India, etc., which you have heard. The next year is the India-UK Year of Culture, which is again a very strong underpinning the culture and people-to-people contacts. In fact, one of the biggest exports from Scotland contributes a lot to people contacts and links that we have in India, and I think it is strongly rumored that more of it is drunk in India than Scotland produces. I think the other big certainty is the reality of India today, and Dr. Forbes in particular has laid out all the positives there are today about our growth, 7.6%, and I'm glad to hear that the figure that is now being talked about is 8%. The huge market, including the rural market, which has been strengthened by this year's budget, which focused not only on the predictable infrastructure aspects, but also on the rural economy. The fact that we are a young country, 50% of India is under the age of 25, the huge R&D pool, the second largest in the world, the expected rate of literacy going up to 99% over the next 9 years, and the largest aviation market in 2030, the second largest railway network in the world, which is poised for major infrastructural innovation and development, and so on and so forth. And on the UK side, you have the certainties of the strengths of the science and technology, the design elements, the universities, and the other things that Minister Johnson has already spoken about. I think a particularly exciting thing to look at and to talk about in the days to come would be the FDI regime that is now extant in India, including the June 2016 latest slew of reforms, which has practically opened up every sector to FDI almost on an automatic route, and almost up to 100% in most cases. So I think this is something which needs to be talked about, which needs to be projected, which needs to be examined, because the UK can contribute hugely to India's objective of becoming a manufacturing and a design hub, not only for our domestic market, but also for third markets. And I can tell you in my conversations, this is something which comes up again and again. So perhaps I thought I would share this with you. Smart cities, I understand there's going to be a detailed panel and people are already very much aware of it, a huge potential there. Renewable energy is another area on which I would like to see if we can focus a bit more. The very encouraging statements have come out of the World Bank after the President of the World Bank's visit to India the last couple of days. The 2 agreements have been signed to support the International Solar Alliance, which Prime Minister had initiated and has been followed by 121 countries. And the World Bank has decided to be a partner for mobilizing the $1 trillion infrastructural support for solar energy and solar infrastructure and its different aspects in India over the next few years. This is another area that we are going to be talking about. I think we've already talked about the FTA or not the FTA, and the EU FTA, etc. I think it's not for me to go into the ifs and buts of this situation. I did deal in my last job with in India-EU for a year and a half. And I'm sure these are things in the fullness of time, after all you have been discussing, we will see what is the way forward. But as they say, a diplomat is somebody who thinks twice and then says nothing. I think that is where I will stop. Thank you.